Hello everybody, and welcome to ZookaMan Streaming, where I'm getting you and your replays to be casted for my entertainment, and hopefully to help you improve a little bit as well. I'm your host, ZookaMan, and we're going to be going into a PvZ. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our players. In the bottom 6 o'clock position, we have Asdasdasd as the red Zerg player spawning in. Meanwhile, on his opponent on the opposite side of the map, we see Z-Top Birdman spawning in as the blue Protoss player. So, ZVP matchup, or PvZ matchup in reversal. What's really common in the matchup? Well, out of the Zerg player, a lot of what I've been seeing from higher level Zerg players is this is a higher level game. I believe this is a Diamond or Masters game. So, definitely not in the bottom ring. But out of Zergs, we're seeing later pools, 15, 16 pools, into gases, and occasionally you'll see an early expansion. But that's usually right around where you're seeing right now, or what I am seeing right now. And from the Protoss side of the field, we're seeing a lot of Forge Fast expands. We still see occasionally a couple Gateway expands, and I know that that's kind of more popular as you go higher up in the ladder. But Birdman is going to go for his Forge Fast expand, nothing wrong with that. Except that I think this pylon might be misplaced. One, because it's part of his wall off, which is a big bad thing that you don't want to have happen, unless you're really desperate to have your wall up really quickly, like if you know your opponent's going for an earlier pool, which, by the way, we know Asdasdasd isn't, and the Protoss is even going to scout that. But having it as a wall, part of your wall, makes it a lot more vulnerable to Zerglings and Roach attacks later on in the game, once you get started going towards that mid-game. And Birdman also going to be doing kind of a curious thing here, not really going for anything more on his wall off, and not really going for anything more for his natural expansion as well. But it looks like Birdman is going to want to cannon rush the back of Asdasd's natural expansion. Be a little bit cheeky there. He's going to cancel one of them, but this is going to delay his natural fairly, not really bigly, but it is going to stop the natural and the wall off from being completed right on the time where he wants it to be. And the one cannon isn't really going to be doing as much damage as he wants to. He actually is going to force the cancel on Asdasdasd, which is not good for our Zerg player. Very, very good on our Protoss side of things. As he's getting up on his natural expansion now, and is starting to work on getting his wall completed. That being said, Asdasdasd saying, okay, you can rush me, I'll proxy hatch you, and that is exactly what we're going to be seeing go down. Geez, this reminds me of an old play I used to see from another player called Roachgellion a while back, but that is completely irrelevant. Is that walled off? That's so weird, I can't really tell. Metabolic Boost is on the way for our Zerg player at this point. It does have this macro hatch kind of steaming along. We do have the natural expansion just about now finishing up for Birdman. And he doesn't really seem to be doing a lot of crazy stuff. Isn't going to be getting his gases. Pretty standard timings on those. I think, probably would be a good idea to see maybe an additional gateway come down, especially, has he actually scouted this? Yeah, he has scouted this, so I definitely would like to see an additional gateway come down from him. As Asdasdasd is kind of all inning at this point to try to get some damage on. If he doesn't, it's not good for him. Meanwhile, we're going to see an additional pylon laid down as well to kind of help out with the whole problem with the wall in. We're going to solve that up. Also going to be getting a pile on the back here. So we're not going to have a lot of units coming out here. However, Asdasdasd is going to have this hatch rate coming out fairly shortly here. And really, this kind of pylon wall offs is actually more delaying than inevitable. We're going to be seeing an additional photon cannon come down. But once these spine crawlers come up, I believe spine crawlers do outrange cannons. So he'll be in a decent position when that happens. We do have more links coming out across the map. Not really too much coming up from Asdasdasd back home. He does have the Metabolic Boost up, but not really anything else on that regard. We see the pylon's going to be picked away by these spine crawlers. One getting to be readjusted here really quickly. Meanwhile, Asdasdasd is going to be going up on sentries here. Going to be getting a couple of additional cannons to help defend this, and with that he should be perfectly fine, unless Asdasdasd wants to put in a lot more units, which a lot more spine crawlers, excuse me, which might be a little bit of a problem. I think we're going to lose an overlord in the natural expansion there from Asdasdasd, as he is going to get supply block, but what does he care? He has spine crawlers. Meanwhile, we have quite a few Zerglings just kind of hanging out here, and we're going to be seeing the focus on the Forge, which is a good plan, stopping Birdman from building additional cannons. But I mean, at this point, a little bit too late in my opinion. He's not going to be able to stop a lot of cannon production. There are 4 cannons up on this wall right now, so I really think that if Asda wants to break this, he's really going to have to commit more and put in some more spine crawlers, or tech up into banelings and just try to bust this wall down completely. And that being said, he's doing pretty well on that regard. He's going to be uprooting his spine crawlers and inching forward ever so slowly. Meanwhile, we have a robotics facility up for Birdman at this point, and he's going to be going into Immortals, which will help out a lot against this kind of spine crawl-centric, or spine crawler-centric kind of build here. We do have a layer coming up back home for Asdasdasd. We're going to be seeing an additional pylon laid down as well. And that spine crawler is totally in range of the cannons, which isn't quite a good thing there. We're going to be seeing the Queen's going to be going to help that out, and actually she's now going to be going for the Zerglings to be able to take out this wall. Zerglings are going down. We are going to be losing both of the cannons, though. One Immortal is out on the map, which might be enough. I don't know. That Immortal is getting dangerously low. We do have another robotics facility going for another one. But there's an insane amount of DPS here from our Queens, and the spine crawlers in the back, which are actually mostly intact. Mothership Core going down as well. We are losing the wall here, folks. Lots of units just going to go down. Asda going to be moving forward with his spine crawlers, going to be doing what he can here. Zealots are going to be tearing away at the line over here, going to be getting up on those Queens, who don't really have a whole lot of energy for that transfusion, but he is going to be able to beat back the Zealots, and he's going to be able to move forward. What he really needs to do is try to target down this robotics facility, and that is exactly what he's going to be doing. And that is going to go down. There are some more Zealots on the map, but I mean, even if this push stopped now, he's done a lot of damage. I would honestly really like to see a natural expansion. Even if it is a crazy spot. I suppose he has a natural expansion over here, but it's not really a mining base. Probes are going to be pulled out over here to help defend against the Queens. We do have an additional warpit of Zealots, which should be able to take care of those Queens. Actually, no, the 6 transfuses are going to be able to keep them alive quite a bit, but the Zealots are going to be proving to be too much. Zerglings are streaming in here to slowly try to whittle away the army of the Protoss. Queen is going to stay alive here, and he is going to get the natural expansion at the very least. Even now going to be going up into Nidus Network and Roachworm so that he can get into the main base of his Protoss opponent. We do have, yeah, that expansion is probably going to fall. Spine Crawler's going to be repositioning outside the natural expansion. Going to make sure that that is perfectly safe. He's going to drop down a couple of additional Spine Crawlers as well to kind of say, no, you're not getting out of this base. And that natural expansion is going to fall. Asda would love to see him clear away the cannons back home, get this natural expansion, and even at this point drop down a double expansion. Lots of Zealots are coming out across the map though, and those are going to be able to come down and actually really tear apart the spine crawlers here. Oh no, there's quite a few spine crawlers just kind of building in here, which are in serious danger. He needs to cancel those if he wants to keep the resources out of them, but actually he's going to let them cancel, or let them finish up, and they are going to get a few shots off on the Zealots, but not enough, I think, for Asdasdasd to be able to come away from this ahead. Honestly, 22 to 20 Harvesters, not really. 14 Warriors killed for Asdasdasd, which is a really helpful thing, but he has lots of Zealots coming out across the map, which is kind of interesting in general. We do have Robotics Facility going to be remade back in his main base. Meanwhile, Asdasdasd is going to be going up onto his Spire Tech, but I don't think it's going to come up quick enough to help deal with these Zealots that are just going to be pretty much air moving across the map towards this natural expansion. He's going to even be warping in a few units in the forward pylon that has still been up there since the cannons were laid down. He's going to be moving up into this main base fairly shortly here, and the Spire, even if there are sentries on the map, and even if he doesn't get the Spire up, he's not really going to be in the best position here. He needs to try to get out. I don't know if there's much he can do here. Zealot Sentry, he's going to be coming into this natural expansion here. Going to be going for the hatchery as well as getting that mineral line. Lots of workers are going to be falling down to those Zealots. And we're even going to see a Nidus Worm going to be going down on the opposite side of the map while those Zealots are trying to, well, while the Roaches are trying to stay alive. Meanwhile, we do see that Nidus Worm going to be finishing up. And, oh my goodness, there are units in that. That's going to empty out over here by his opponent's base. Meanwhile, we have Zerglings coming into the main base, which are going to try to work and try to kill as much as possible. Love to see Asda. He doesn't really have a lot of units here, a lot of minerals here to be able to really do anything here. Birdman going to be in serious danger here as more Zerglings are streaming out across the map. But those Zealots are doing quite a bit of damage here, and they are clearing up that main base. And Nidus Worm is still up, so he's still got a pretty favorable kind of lead here. Meanwhile, we have the Zerglings, drones, and Roaches in the main base, pretty much just chewing away at everything. Or in the case of the Roaches, just spitting acid everywhere. And I think Asda is gonna, in a surprisingly turn of fate, gonna win this. Yeah, I think he's gonna win this. Birdman is going to be pulling back his units here to try to help defend, but by the time they get back, it's going to be a little bit too. Oh no, the pylon! The pylon is. Oh no! Oh no! Asda! He needs to get that pylon. He needs to get that pylon before his opponent. Oh! Go for the pylon! Protoss Army is going to chase after those drones. Could actually probably force field off a few of these. But this might be enough. He's going to be kind of hesitating by the cannon, but he can't hesitate. If that army catches up with him, he is not going to be able to win this, but it looks like he's going to be in a pretty good position here. He's going to clear away the cannon, and the pylon is the last remaining structure left on the map for Birdman. Oh! Even trying to force field off, Birdman was. But alas, it was all in vain. So what can we learn against this guy? What can we learn from this, guys? One thing immediately springs to mind. Don't cannon rush a Zerg's natural expansion. And even to that point, don't cannon rush Asda's natural mineral line. I think that's going to be it, guys. So we'll be seeing you on the next cast.